is an eccentric mass shaker, and the way it works is it has these two counter-rotating buckets. So the buckets are already oriented so that when they overlap, which is the only time when the forces don't cancel, it's going to exert a force in the east-west direction. Today we're only going to do forces in the east-west direction. And it's a force that's exerted in a sinusoidal pattern. Force is exerted when the buckets overlap in this direction and in this direction, which is what ends up producing that sinusoidal force in the end. And so we're going to start out with no weights in the buckets, so it's the lightest force that we can apply. And then throughout the test, we're going to fill up the buckets with these weights so that the forces without the weights is like 400 pounds, and then fully loaded is going to be 5,000 pounds. Oh. So we'll see some slight nonlinearity.
Right, so the heavier, the more it's going to move, right?
Right. Well, the more that we'll see a change in the frequency response. So, and one more thing. So this is permanently installed, but it's not in the center of the floor. It's off-center, it's south by a little bit. And so what that means, and that's actually useful, because what that means is that when it's running, it excites torsion as well.
Oh.
So, yeah. All right, so we'll get started.
How much acceleration will it tell us?
You know, so the maximum, it's actually relatively small. The maximum acceleration we're going to see is something like less than the percent G. It's going to be 0.1% G or less.
Okay.
And the displacements are going to be on the order of about millimeters. What else is going to be? We're going to run it from close to 0 up to 9.7. But we can only do up to 9.7 if there are no weights inside. And when we fill it up with weights, we can only run it up to around 2.5 hertz. Because the force is proportional to omega squared, frequency squared. Yeah. So it gets too dangerous to run it full of weights at any higher frequencies than 2.5 hertz. All right, so let's get started. Go to the exterior wall so you can feel it more than if you're standing in the middle. You know, and so it's going to be sort of like being in a boat, rocking back and forth in a boat. Torsion is at around 2.4, first torsion. And that one, people always feel even stronger than the first east-west. So when we get to 2.4, shortly before this first sweep ends, you'll feel that one too.
How did you feel it?
Purchasing us.